All right, everyone. We are finally going to learn about polynomial long division. It's essentially reducing something that looks like this, a cubic equation, for example, to something quadratic. So we'll get to this example in just a moment. We're going to review the long division process using this example, though. So if we were trying to do 3,660 divided by 12 without the use of a calculator, we might set it up like this. 3,660 is being divided by 12. So since 12 does not go into 3, we're going to move on to the next place value, the next digit. So we do know that 12 goes into 36, and 12 goes into 36 3 times. And then we multiply. 3 times 12 will give you 36. This is a pretty important step. You're going to go like this and subtract that value. So again, we got 3 times 12 for 36. Now we need to subtract that value. And 36 minus 36 is just going to give us 0. We can bring down the next digit. And for this, well, 12 doesn't go into 6. 12 goes into 6, essentially 0 times. And then 0 times 12 is 0. Once again, we need to subtract. 6 minus 0 is going to give you 6, and then we have to drop this 0 down. Now our final kind of thinking about how many times does 12 go into 60? That goes into 60 exactly 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60, and then we subtract. So this number is important. We don't have anything else to bring down, and we're going to stop at this point. This number is known as the remainder. So the remainder here is 0. And so just to verify, 3,660 divided by 12 is 305 with no remainder. There's no decimal attached to this number. If we had a different thing down here, we would have 305 point something. Okay, so moving on to polynomial long division. It follows pretty well the same process. It's just a bit more complex. But we're going to set it up the same way. We're going to say x cubed. We will say x cubed plus 12x squared plus 41x plus 72. All of that is being divided by x plus 8. Okay, so I would say the first thing that we want to do is divide x cubed by x, or essentially how many times does x go into x cubed? Kind of like we did here. 36 divided by 12 is 3. So x cubed divided by x is x squared. Now, a tip, we know that x cubed divided by x is x squared. So try to line that exponent up like this. I want the x squareds to all go in one column, just to help me organize the problem and help me keep track of what I've done and what I still need to do. So just like we did with long division here, 12 goes into 36 3 times. Now we're going to do 3 times 12 for 36, or over here, that would be x squared times x. Now x squared times x is x cubed, so I will put that underneath x cubed. Again, I'm trying to line these exponents up. And then we're also going to multiply by 8. X squared times 8 is 8x squared. Okay, so this is something that you definitely want to get in the habit of doing. We are subtracting all of this. We're subtracting this expression here. So I'm going to wrap it in parentheses. Try to get in the habit of doing that. We want to keep track of signs, positives and negatives, and wrapping this in parentheses should help. Because because again, we knew that x squared times 8 was positive 8x squared. Keep in mind, I'm subtracting that value. So that said, x cubed minus x cubed, well, that's just 0. And then 12x squared minus 8x squared. It's not 20, 12 minus 8. So we are going to have 4x squared here. And then we can bring down all this other stuff. So we'll still have plus 41x. I'm having so much trouble with that. And then the plus 72. Okay, same idea here. What we're going to do now is, how many times does x go into 4x squared? Or another way to think of it is, what is 4x squared divided by x? Well, 4 divided by 1 is 4. X squared divided by x is x. So x, maybe another way you can think of it is, what do I multiply by x to get 4x squared? Whatever helps you out. And that answer is definitely 4x. I'm going to put it on top of the other variables with a single exponent. Now we multiply. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 8 is 32x. Fantastic. After multiplying, we subtract. Don't forget, wrap it in parentheses to help you keep track of what you're actually subtracting or adding. So 4x squared minus 4x squared, all those cancel each other out. 41x minus 32x leaves us with 9x. And then I'll bring down the 72. Fantastic. Almost done here. So once again, it's essentially, what do I multiply by x to make 9x? Or, what's 9x divided by x? The answer to that is 9. 9 times x makes 9x. 9 times 8 makes 72. After multiplying, wrap in parentheses and subtract. Okay, so now we've got 9x minus 9x. All those cancel each other out. 72 minus 72, that equals 0 as well. So this number is still important. That means that we have a remainder of 0. Okay, so essentially, if this was a function, like if I define this as like h of x or something, if h of x was equal to all of this stuff, I could just as well write that. Well, maybe I shouldn't actually do that. If h of x was the cubed function and I divided it by x plus 8, this is what would be remaining. So by dividing by x plus 8, I have created this expression or function, x squared plus 4x plus 9. All right. It's important to know this because that means x plus 8 is a factor, which means negative 8 is a solution to this function. It's cubed, which means there's 2 other solutions, and you can find those by solving this quadratic. Solving this quadratic is going to be loads easier than trying to solve this cubic function. You would just take the quadratic formula and apply it to this little expression here. Okay, so let's try one more long division problem before this video kind of reaches its end. I've got another example here. Okay. Let's actually go to your textbook. So I'm on page M2-27 from the text. And all we're going to do is look at question number 2. The question says, the problem says, the expression x minus 7 is a factor of this cubic expression, x cubed minus 10x squared plus 11x plus 70. this expression is a factor. So that implies something. Since it says literally that x minus 7 is a factor, that means, without a doubt, the remainder, when we divide, the remainder will equal 0. And it implies something else. And x equals 7 is one solution. Very important to know that. Again, once we divide this polynomial by x minus 7, the remainder will be 0. And it also means that 7 is guaranteed to be a real solution to this equation. Okay, so now let's try to do this. We probably won't actually solve it, but I do want to just practice long division. So let's try this. We're going to set it up exactly like we did the previous example. X cubed minus 10x squared plus 11x plus 70. All of that is being divided by x minus 7. Want to try pausing the video and maybe taking a stab on how to start this? That's probably a good idea. And the starting really is the hardest part of this. So what we're doing to begin with is x cubed divided by x. X cubed divided by x. That is x squared. Remember, for organization, to help you out, try to line up the exponents. After we do this, it's multiply, subtract, find the top number, multiply, subtract, and on and on and on until you've reached the last term. So anyhow, x squared times this is x cubed minus 7x squared. Wrap in parentheses and subtract. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit confusing because x cubed minus x cubed, sure, those two things cancel each other out, but really pay attention to what's happening here. We have negative 10 minus negative 7. Another way to say that is negative 10 plus 7. If I subtract a negative number, I'm really just adding it. So this will be negative 3x squared. Okay, now what we are going to do is drop down all of this stuff. Find the top number. Essentially, what times x is negative 3x squared? Or negative 3x squared divided by x, whichever way you prefer to think about it. But it is negative 3x. Negative 3x times x is negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times negative 7 is positive 21x. Wrap in parentheses after multiplying and subtract. Okay, negative 3 minus negative 3. That's the same thing as saying negative 3 plus 3, which is 0. 11 minus 21. So I'm definitely am just subtracting on that one. 11 minus 21 is negative 10. And these ones have the x's, single x. Drop down to 70 one more time. Now we need to figure out what number goes here. What times x makes negative 10x? I'm sure you can figure that one out. It's negative 10. Negative 10 times all of this is negative 10x plus 70. Okay, now let's just subtract. Wrap it like this, subtract. What do we get? Well, negative 10 essentially plus 10. That's 0. 70 minus 70 is also 0. That's good news. Kind of checks our work that we did the long division correctly. Because as we already said, we knew this was a factor, so the remainder had to be 0. Okay. So to solve this now, we've created a quadratic equation. We've created x squared minus 3x minus 10. And then to solve, we always say equal to 0. So what we could do at this point is try to factor it. Are there factors of negative 10 that add up to negative 3? if we use the little X bar chart method thing, what multiplies to make -10 but add up to -3? That would be -5 and +2. So this factors into x minus 5 times x plus 2. And of course, once we have the factors, the solutions are very easy to find. It is what makes this factor equal to 0? What minus 5 equals 0? Well, that's just 5. X equals 5. And x equals -2. And as we said up here, and x equals 7. Those are all three solutions to that polynomial function. All right, we'll be doing more polynomial long division during class. Thanks y'all for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.